in my attempts to get the fabled Jotaro Part 6 hat, I have fought Jotaro countless times to the point where I have probably spent more time with him than I have with my IRL family, and I think that's good enough for us to call each other friends. And so I think that's given me enough insight into sort of how he works and the things he does to maybe be able to explain how he is just such an asshole and just hates anyone that tries to fight him. It's an all-around awful experience, and every time I want to fight him, it just gives me cancer. But luckily, I know exactly some of the points of just why he's just awful, and I think it would be a great idea to explain them so everyone who wants to fight him can say, oh, that's why I should avoid him, and then not have to deal with his bullshit. And here at point number 1, we have what everybody loves about my friend Jotaro Part 6. Now, to those who have never had to experience the terror that is Jokujo, you may read that and say, what the fuck do you mean by 0 cooldowns? How does that make any sense? And now what I mean by that is, if you've ever experienced Jotaro, you know, once he gets below 25% HP, he just starts spamming time stops. Everyone knows this. Like, he just uses them to no end. And some people might think, oh yeah, that's just one example, then how do you know he's 0 cooldowns? If you've fought him for long enough, say you've tortured yourself with Sticky Fingers or Aerosmith, you've seen him use Zone Awakening twice, 3 times. If you've ever stuck him in the D4C dimension to have him as your personal time-stopping slave, which is fun, by the way, would recommend, he'll regen to full HP off of his awakenings alone. It is stupid. And then not to mention, he has moves like Platinum Slam and Skull Crusher, which have decent cooldowns. And he just kind of spams them sometimes. And now what holds him back is his programming. What I believe is going on here is that he just has either a set amount of combos or a percentage of what moves he's going to use. And that's why he can't just spam beatdown for every 2 seconds at the beginning and just kill you in 3 seconds. Now, the really big evidence I have of this for why it's every single move is a little bug I like to call the double barrage bug. Or maybe it's not a bug, but it's just bad design. And so what happens is, you know, Jotaro, he's an AI. He's an idiot. He barrages first. Imagine, what an on. And so, you know, any instinctive player will just barrage back. And now for experienced Jotaro players, you know that's the bad idea. You're just fucking stupid. But that's a normal reaction. Like, of course, you're gonna barrage back. But Jotaro's this great thing, and I've seen this happen at least 5 times, where he'll barrage, his barrage will finish, and he will instantly do a second barrage. Like, he'll be barraging you, you'll barrage back, he'll be in your barrage, and he'll just do a second barrage. That doesn't make any sense. What? Don't. I'll be fine. Just don't lag.
Bro, brush back.
He barraged back! Look at this bullshit! Double barrage! I fucking hate that. He actually barraged back, though. He literally did.
He literally brushed back.
This bug is a major issue, because barrages do a lot more damage than you might think. Base 1.5, the World Barrage, does about 50 damage, and I know this because I scaled it to, I think it was 6 M1s worth of 54.2 damage. That and the barrage did about the same, meaning that if Jotaro hits you with 2 barrages, even if it's only at 1.4, that's like 100 damage that he's doing, which is about half from one like encounter. Just 2 moves, not including anything afterwards or before. That is absurd and so dumb, and there's barely any counterplay. There's no way you can predict this happening, because after a barrage, there's like a 99.9% chance he'll use a heavy punch. This has happened on very rare occasions, but it's definitely happened multiple times, so it's not a one-off thing. I might only have 1 clip, but it has happened to me multiple times. Now, Jotaro not having cooldowns is a pretty big deal and kind of annoying, but it's not the worst thing, you know. He's held back by his combos. There's a bit of variation, but it's not that big of a deal. You can definitely still beat him with it for obvious reasons. But the next one, yeah, you can beat him, but it's really dumb. So, Skull Crusher is a move where Star Platinum the World will teleport behind you and attempt to punch you. This is a move that's brain dead easy parry. I was parrying this before I could parry a heavy punch. It's that easy. And that makes it a god-awful move. But Uzu, or one of the developers, decided this boss should be harder. So therefore, they made his Skull Crusher unparryable. That means he uses the move if he gets the move off. If you don't it's a cancelable move, but it's a pretty short window. So if you don't cancel his move, you're getting hit. There is no counterplay unless you have a counter like Epitaph. You just gotta tank the hit. And now that's not the biggest deal. It's like 25, 20 damage. Like it's not that big of a deal until you realize two things. Number one, what if he uses this during time stop? You're fucked. And what's even worse is if he uses this and you're just stuck on the ground, that's like, okay, it's kind of annoying. If he uses this and then barrages you instantly, well, fuck you, I guess. You're getting like half your HP done from one time stop. Not to mention he's going to use this again in about 10 seconds. Great game design. And this is where I'm going to insert a quick side note about time stop resistance. Contrary to what you might think, having a ton of time stop resistance, like max the World of Star Platinum Rage or whatever level, is honestly a bad idea. And now some people may disagree with me on this, but so to put it this way, if you have like one sliver of TS resist, like you don't even buy time stop, you just buy time stop resistance. Let's say Jotaro time stops, you click the spacebar, you're just set. You're just gonna be like midair already. But if you have like 5 seconds of TS resist, you're gonna be sitting there for so long, just running, like walking around mid time stop, hoping to God that he does not skull crusher you or hit you with any other move. So it's either you got a 5 second window or you just instantly jump. And now obviously, if you're like going against an actual player, more time stop resistance is better. But against AI, I actually think less is better. That way there's less chance for them to punish you by it. Now, ignoring that side note, the second issue with Jotaro's Skull Crusher, you can't parry it, which means it's going to be hitting you. So, what happens if you beat downs after it? Some of you may not know, but Jotaro doesn't just beat down you, he teleports behind you, stuns you, and then beat downs you. And yes, you can parry it if you're not stuck on the ground because you're ragdolled from Skull Crusher. And I think you see where this is going. This is a completely free confirmation of beatdown for Jotaro, as you can see. And this has happened to me, I think, 2 or 3 times. So it's, again, not just some one-off bug, because YBA has a lot of those. And what's worse is not only does he get a free beatdown, he despawns mid-beatdown. And then when you're done with the beatdown, you're trapped in an invisible box, and you just can't move. And if you try to dash, you start flying around like a crackhead. What? The first time I got this bug, I dashed just because it was a normal reaction. I can't move and I'm trapped in a box, so of course I'm going to try dashing. And the second time I dashed just for some content, because it's nice to have that recording, the second one. And it's done the same exact thing from the same exact setup of Skull Crusher in a beatdown, and it's Jotaro despawning. How does this make any sense? Why does he therefore despawn because he beat down you specifically after a Skull Crusher? And then that traps you in a box where if you dash, you start flying around? Where in any of that does it add up? Like, I don't understand. I don't code, so this doesn't make any sense to me. How does any of this add up? And you can't be kicked for exploiting from this. I thought you would, but I was stuck in this for a good, like, 10-15 minutes, and nothing happened. Of course, I reset, and it was all fixed. It wasn't like a perma bug or anything. But for some reason, you can just sit there flying around for 15 minutes, almost teleporting around the map. And the anti-cheat just doesn't care. I guess I should say what anti-cheat, because it's YBA, of course. But just none of this makes any sense. This bug is just so stupid and random, and I bet very few people know about it. Just like how very few people know that Jotaro actually has a personality. He likes to be an astronaut. Sometimes Jotaro, he gets bored of being Uzu's slave to bully children, and he wants to play a different game. So he just flies off into the stratosphere to go play Space Engineers. Who knows why? He's gone. He's here 1 second, and there he goes. Sometimes he'll fly off into the distance, but on the ground, like the YBA floor bug, which is pretty infamous. But he just decides, nah, I don't want to be a part of this game anymore. See you later. And then, of course, Uzu has attached chains to him, so he just respawns, and he's fucking depressed now. But he just flies away sometimes. He wants to be an astronaut, I guess. I can't explain this. You may have noticed that through some of the clips I've been showing of me fighting Jotaro, this has already happened, and that's because this happens to me, like, a good 30% of the time, I'll go to fight Jotaro, maybe do a little combo, and then do a Jawbreaker, and there he goes, gone off to the Shadow Realm. This happens so often. People who haven't even fought him probably know what this is, just because it happens all the time. This is probably the most common Jotaro bug out of any of these. It's so stupidly easy to do, but it just sometimes it doesn't happen. Like sometimes I'll do a Tusk beatdown, oh, there he goes away, but then sometimes it won't. This bug on its own isn't that annoying. Like sure, it deletes your progress, but I found that most of the time it happens during the beginning. And if it happens later, it's most likely because he's losing a limb or he's fat and his body is deformed, which you can normally tell, and maybe you can stop using knockdowns. But it just happens all the time. It's like, I don't understand. Why is this so common? How can this not be fixed? How does this end up happening? Like, how does the code let this happen? I don't understand. I'll be honest, I don't have a ton to say about this subject because it's pretty simple. He flies into space, but this is a pretty good transition into my next topic, which relates to it. That being his body deformations. Now this isn't much so a bug, as when his body gets deformed, it's mostly due to the player. Stuff like Reality Overwrite Punch, Conqueror's Will, things like that, or maybe losing a limb is also included in this, but it's just because this all causes weird things to happen. Like for example, when he loses a limb, Star Platinum the world, like, makes up for it and like fills in the limb with its own body parts. I don't know what this is about. As an extension of this, sometimes when Jotaro's body gets deformed, Star Platinum starts doing some weird shit. Like he starts floating above him, across from him, gets like really detached. I've seen this happen a few times with actual people, but it happens semi-commonly with Jotaro, where Star Platinum just like distances something. He does some social distancing for some reason. This is something I don't understand at all, how Star Platinum can just start floating upside down, across, above him. I don't know how this happens. I don't really know what causes it. Like here you see it was a beatdown, like he wasn't turned fat, but all of a sudden he's up there now for some reason, who knows why. If something like this happens to Star Platinum, where he's suddenly floating above him, it can cause a lot of issues, because fighting Jotaro relies on him barraging you, and then you parry his heavy punch, but sometimes he just gets bugged and can't hit you with his barrage, like, and then that messes up your entire combo. Have fun fighting him now with this bullshit. This is just like, it completely throws you off your game. Like, what do you do against this? This is all without mentioning the fact that whenever Star Platinum gets bugged or Jotaro is a little fat, he just starts jumping around like a frog. Like he skull crushers you, jumps up to Dio over heaven, comes back down, beat downs you. Oh, whoop! Now he's all the way over here at Diavolo. He's just like hopping around, teleporting around. What the fuck's going on here? Like, this is so stupid. This is a terrible fight. What is going on? And then of course Jotaro is unable to escape the nightmare of every NPC from Your Bizarre Adventure, the floor bug. You get stuck in the floor, and oh, there he goes. There goes my hero, slowly floating away as he attempts to run at you. This happens all the time with Dio Part 3 and Jotaro Part 3, but it happens with Part 6 as well, and I do think it might happen a bit with Over Heaven, but he mostly just tends to jump around a lot. But Part 6, now he does everything. He floats around, jumps around, Star Platinum's floating above him while he's stuck in the ground trying to run away from you. What is happening? Jotaro is just a mess when it comes to being deformed. He just completely breaks. And this really hurts him, because it makes fighting him just absolutely awful, knowing that any time he could just decide to start flying around, or maybe make it so that his barrage can't hit you for some reason. And it's just annoyingly inconsistent. And that was my last major point for why Jotaro is just bullshit. But I have a bit of a miscellaneous section here, where I have some things that are just kind of just annoying quirks, or just some things that don't make any sense about Jotaro that just make him that much more annoying to fight. So the first thing I'd like to say is pretty simple. Jotaro Part 6 has infinite time stop resistance. Why? Who knows? Obviously not a bug. Obviously this is intended by Uzu or whatever developer wanted to make the boss more difficult. But seriously, infinite time stop resistance. Why? So this makes it so no matter if you have max the World Over Heaven time stop, if you do the time stop bug with the rage stance, doesn't matter. He will walk through all of it. So this sort of adds to my point of you don't need to get time stop at all, because it's kind of pointless. You should get either a more Awakening or Midas Touch on the World Over Heaven or Star Platinum in the World, since you can just change stance to reset your skill points. But this is like, why? And then there's my other favorite bug, where specifically, if you use Sticky Fingers uppercut while he's in the time stop animation, there he goes. He's gone. He's just gone. Why? I don't know. Who knows? You can use Sticky Fingers uppercut at any other point during the fight. Perfectly fine. But specifically, during the time stop animation, he's just gone if you try to use it. And Jotaro despawns if you get too far away from him. So is it like you use uppercut and your model goes to like the fucking highest peak and then comes back? What? Obviously that wouldn't explain why you can use it other times. But like, just why does this happen? I don't understand. Then there was this one time where, well, this happened.
Yeah.
Skill. Pure.
He's not.
He's
not
aggroed
dead.
on me though.
I died.
He's still here, anyways.
No, he's not.
Hey,
He's in
Jotaro. Hey,
the... What do you
Jotaro.
mean he's...
Hey,
What-
Jotaro. Hey, Jotaro.
Wait, what?
Hey, Jotaro.
He's...
There's one last thing I want to mention about Jotaro here, and that's that he has the ability to, for some godforsaken reason, grant you immortality.
What? Robert?
I love how... Whoa.
Robert?
Yeah.
Robert?
Yeah?
Wait, don't hit him.
No, that's fucking bannable. That is bannable.
Um,
You may want to leave, because that's fucking abusing
wait
a boat.
a minute. What did I even do?
Watch this.
What did I do?
That could be counted as abusing a bug. That's kind of bannable.
What did we do?
I don't know, but it is
I
bannable.
can attack back.
I don't.
I see how it is. Thanks, guys.
Like,
I really
look at that.
appreciate it.
He's stopping the bullets, too.
What? I can't explain how, because I don't understand how, but one time, my friends, they just made me immortal through Jotaro. Who knows how? We tried this again, and I was immortal, but specifically to barrages. What is going on here?
Yeah, he's still mortal. You weird ass bastard.
Yeah, he's more...
Oh. Wait.
What?
What?
What is happening?
What?
Mortal, half immortal. He's half mortal, half immortal. Wait.
Is it?
It's just
It's
Mirage.
specifically mirages. I just can't be Mirage now. And that's about it for all the weird ass stuff I found for Jotaro. I'm sure there's a mountain more of just weird quirks and shit that goes on with him, but I can't be bothered to fight him more or to dig up more clips about him. So this is all I got. If you're some ranked #1 leaderboard player who has 17 Jotaro hats on your 40 different alt accounts, and you think I'm fucking stupid and I'm wrong about all this, then feel free to leave a dislike and comment about how bad I am at this game. And with that, I hope we're all having a great day, and I'll see y'all next time.
Okay.
Look at my stream.
Alright.
I pissed off Jotaro, and he's...